Hello, hello everybody. Laurie here from Unique in the Creek. Hello, hello. Say hello when you come in. Tonight we're going to do I'm going to use one of the vinyls, one of the new vinyls. So Gigi, if you don't know, Gigi's my puppy I got not too long ago. She is finished her one-on-one training with the trainer. So I am making her trainer a wreath for her door. She doesn't have a wreath for her door. So I'm going to be using vinyl 2095. Really, really super cute vinyl. It also comes in 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, and the vinyl. Isn't it cute? It says House of Kisses, Wagging Tails, and Love. I really like it because I love the daisies that are on it as well. And it's a dog sign without screaming. It's a dog sign. Hello, hello everyone. So this is the vinyl I'm going to be using. I've picked I've been dying to use this new ribbon we got. This is the vertical, it's called a vertical stripe, vertical glitter stripe. We got it in all different colors. It's so pretty. So it's got glitter stripes going along the center of it. So it comes in solid colors and it comes in two variant colors, okay? So I'm going to be using this because I've been dying to use it. Everything I'm using the product links are in the description, okay? The description of the video here. I'm going to be using this 2.5-inch diagonal plaid. So it's just a neutral, a white, and a black. And I'm also going to come in with this black and white paw print ribbon because it matches the paw prints on the sign. Okay, what I am going to do a little different is, like I said, we are using the character board. So on the inner row of the character board, hold on, got it. Roll this up so it doesn't catch on to everything. I am going to be putting, look how cute these are. I used the excited voice. I'm going to show you guys how to make these cute little bows. We have a daisy in the center to match the little daisies on the vinyl. So these are just the silicone beads. You guys know I bought a whole bunch of different beads. These are the daisy ones. I think it's going to look super cute. So we're going to do 8 of these black bows with the white and yellow daisy on row 2. Okay, so stay tuned to watch how I'm going to do those. I got these silicone beads on Temu, but I think you can find them on Amazon and stuff. Now, I know our friends in the United States are having issues getting stuff from Temu. See, I'm in Canada, so I can still order from Temu without getting charged extra duty and stuff. The only problem is they're made in China, which I have a problem sending it over. So I'm going to try and figure out how I can order some of these for our website. Different things, because they have paw prints and everything. But I didn't want to go too much of dog stuff. I thought the daisies would be really cute because I was already coming in with a dog print ribbon. So yeah, So I'm going to see what I can do to get some of these fun silicone beads. They come in all different types of things, and they're fairly inexpensive. They're rubber, okay, and all I'm going to do is put a pipe cleaner through the hole, you'll see, and we're going to make 8 of these cute little bows, and then you just put the bow down the holes, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. And I'm going to be using pre-cut mesh, only because I didn't feel like cutting mesh. Sorry, guys. Canadians, the pre-cut mesh is still on the website for you guys. Our U.S. customers, I can't. It's made in China. Made in China. I can't sell it to you guys at the moment. Unfortunately, trust me, unfortunately. Hopefully this will all get worked out soon. I already know some businesses that are closing up and stuff because of all this stuff going on, and it's sad. Anyways, all right. So I have already started with my mesh. Yeah, you can find the beads and stuff on Amazon. I'm not sure if they're going to be as cheap as Temu, but they definitely will have them. These ones are an inch. These are an inch round, an inch in diameter. Or if you use like the, if you want the silicone round beads, you get them about 18 to 30 millimeters is what you want for the round beads, okay? But these flat silicone ones are, oh, there they are right there, 30 millimeters. They're 30 millimeters, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put my vinyl on the board. I started my mesh already because I didn't want to be forever. I want to go have a shower, watch the hockey game in a little bit, so that's why I'm on early tonight. So this is the character board. As you can see, the character board has a solid center, and we have over 1,000 vinyls that you can choose from. When you use the character board in a vinyl, it makes your wreath frame and your sign all one piece. And it's much less expensive than buying a sign separately and stuff like that. I think these are $5 or something, the vinyls. They are UV printed, so they won't fade. And they are also a water-soluble it's an outdoor vinyl. So the adhesive on it is really sticky. But it is water soluble. So I like to, when I use the vinyls, I like to spray the center of my board with a little bit of water. And why I do that is because if I don't put my vinyl on the first time exactly where I want it, I'll be able to pull it off and move it around, and without it adhering super fast. When you use the water, it takes about 24 hours to cure. However, you can still do your wreath. When I say 24 hours to cure, that means it's like stuck there. Like it's going to be hard to get off in 24 hours, okay? So what you're going to do is just take some water. I just got a little squirt bottle here. You can use a damp rag or damp paper towel or something. And I just kind of wet the center. Okay, you want to make sure there's no dog hair or glitter or anything on your board. All right, and here is my top. Okay, there's the 1 and the 2 here. That is the top of my board. I have my squeegee. I have this linked in the bottom too. So if you like to use vinyls, the squeegee, the Unique in the Creek squeegee is really handy to have. Okay, they're fairly inexpensive. They have a felt side on it, and they're very, stiff. And they're great for getting all the air bubbles and everything out. Now, if you do it like me, you should have no problem putting your vinyl on. So what you're going to do is you're just going to peel your vinyl off your paper, okay? And it says vinyl 2095. Now, I eyeball my centers. I don't measure or anything. And it's exactly why I actually put water on the board. so that if I don't put it down right the first time, I still can move it, okay? So what I want is right down the center, right here, is I'm gonna kind of eyeball to make sure that the center of my vinyl center. Okay, I just kind of lay it down. It's in between, it's before on the solid part, but before the first set of holes. Okay, so I just kind of hold it up, and it looks perfectly fine to me. Okay, so if it wasn't fine, I could still easily, you can see, I can easily lift it up and adjust it if I needed to. And you can do that as many times as you need to. The more times you pull it up, though, the stickier it's going to get because the water's dissipating, okay? But once you got it in place, I think it looks good. You're going to then, I take a paper towel and my squeegee, and I put the paper towel over my squeegee. This is just to save the squeegee so the squeegee doesn't get all yucky and mildewy or anything, because I don't want to get it all wet. And it preserves the life of it. So I put a paper towel over top, okay, and then I'm going to start from the middle, and I'm just going to, almost like at a 45-degree angle with my squeegee, like that, I'm just going to go from the middle to the outside. And it's going to collect, the paper towel is going to collect the water underneath. Okay, that water will disappear over time as well, but we're going to get as much water out as we can. Sometimes a little heavy-handed with the water. Okay, so once I got most of the water out, I'll dry it up, and then I'm going to take my squeegee again with the felt side, and now I'll get a more secure adherence with the vinyl. I'll go around again. Okay, I hear you'll see a little tiny little bit of a squirt sometimes if there's still some water in there. But the felt will catch the water too, because you won't have very much. And that's it. Now your wreath frame and your sign are all one piece. So I love the character board because you guys all know I struggle with signs. There we go. Right? Party on the front, business on the back. So you don't see anything on the back. It's all nice and clean. So you don't have to struggle with your sign. And we, like I said, we have over 1,000 vinyl decals. You'll have a lot of fun. Once you get the hang of doing the character board, you can also use the vinyls on the rail board as well, because the rail board is this 10.5 inch, just the same size as the vinyls. You can also use the 10 inch, which I will be doing, not tonight, but you can use the 10 inch new signs on the rails as well. Okay, this is garbage, or it could be scrap paper. Sometimes I put these aside because I'm always writing down ideas and stuff, so I put it to the side. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is what I've already started, and it was really easy. That's why I've started. We're going to be using row 1, and on every row of row 1, I'm going to put a piece of mesh. A 10 by 10 piece of mesh. Well, this is 10.5 by 10.5, okay? What you're going to do is take one of your zip ties, go row 1. Actually, I'm going to skip one and I'll come back to it. Row 1 or hole 1 to the outside of the board. We're making our wreath a little bit bigger than the frame, okay? You can use any mesh. You don't need a ton of it. I would just stick with a 10. If you want to do the design I'm doing tonight, just do 10.5 by 10.5 or 10 by 10, depending whatever, you know, whatever your mesh, where does it say? Whatever your mesh says it is, just cut it into a square, okay? You don't need to wood burn it if you don't want, because I'm going to show you the way I do it, so it hides any strings. Okay, so this is my 10.5 by 10.5 piece. This is the natural and white. I'm going to turn it, curl up. Now with the cut mesh, there really isn't a curl up because it's flat anyways. But you have your factory edges to the left and right, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in 1 inch, just like that. I love the cut mesh. I just love cut mesh. All right, fold it in, and if yours doesn't stay like that, you can just put a clip on it. Just fold it up, and this is just going to hide any strings that we may have, okay? Just like that. And then I'm going to pinch and drag it right up the center to make a nice and neat ruffle. So there's my ruffle. I'm going to turn it face down. That way, if there's any strings, there's a little bit of string there. If there's any strings, you're not going to see it, okay? Where I've pinched in the center to make that ruffle, I'm going to put it right on the board in between the hole and the outside of the board. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining me. If you wouldn't mind floating my boat, I would greatly appreciate it. You know, the SHAR. Okay, and now I'm going to go around the center with my zip tie. Okay, when you're doing this, you want the tail end of the zip tie to go into the flat part of the head. Now, I like to take that very last pleat towards the center and fold it down onto the board. And that spreads that mesh and fans it towards the outside. So if you can see, there's our wreath frame. There's how big our wreath is actually going to be. So visually, it appears to be a much larger wreath without having to use all kinds of supplies and stuff. Because we're really only going to use 24 pieces of mesh. That's all the mesh we're going to be using for this wreath. Okay, now I'm going to cut the tail off. These are just my old scissors. I'm not using my good ribbon scissors. So I went to go and do every other one and then go back and fill in the row that you didn't do. And the reason I do that is because it kind of makes 2 layers. So if you can see, we have every other one, the one layer is, you know, will be right against the door. When I come back and put the other layer in, it kind of sits on top of the first layer. So it really looks like 2 different layers of mesh, but it's not. It's just that appearance again. So you can see there's where I'm going, but these are the every other that I've already done. So this one's going to kind of sit on top of these ones. How many do I need? I need 2 more. So for the outside row, you're going to need 16 pieces. Again, I'm just going to fold the edge in. Pinch up the middle. Thank you, Ruthie. Thank you for the SHARE. Okay, flip it over, putting it right down. I'm going to come around with my zip tie. Okay, I'm going to put the last pleat towards the board, and you can see when I do that, it automatically fans out that piece of mesh. We want it going towards the outside. Okay, make sure they're about the same length. And if you pinched up the middle, both sides should be the same. And then do it up. Hello, afternoon, everybody. Okay, so row 1, we're filling in with 16 pieces. So do every other set of holes on row 1. And then come back and do the row the holes that you didn't do. Now this is the beginner's version. For those that are more veteran wreathers, you know you can do your ribbon and mesh at the same time. When you see in a second, I'm teaching for those of you who may just be new to Unique in the Creek boards. Okay, and there we go. We got a nice, I'm gonna zoom out because it's getting big. We got a nice row of mesh going on here. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut 8 pieces. I've already cut some of it. I want 8 pieces of this 2.5 inch ribbon. I'm cutting 8 pieces of the black vertical stripe ribbon. I love this, you guys. This is so pretty. It's all different colors. It's gorgeous and it's inexpensive. And then we're going to cut 8 pieces of our paw ribbon, all at 14 inches. Okay, so I'm going to use my measure buddy. I'm going to pull out number 1 all the way to 14. Take my ribbon. And like I said, all the supplies are linked below. And we're going to go, except for measure buddy, I forgot to put the measure buddy on. We're going to go around 8 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You love this? Well, I'm glad, Donna. Oh, not ribbon scissors. They're dull. Those are what I use for my zip ties. Okay, I'm going to take these off. I'm going to slide my ribbon scissors in the ends. And now we have 8 individual pieces of ribbon. And now I want to dovetail the ends, which is making that V shape right here in the ends of your ribbon. So gather the ends of your ribbon together. I only have 4 pieces here. This is a fairly thinner ribbon. If it was really thick, I would only do like 2 pieces at a time. Okay, then you're going to fold it in half lengthwise. Take your good scissors and from the folded edge, when you fold it to the very outside corner, you're going to cut. And when you open it up, you have your V shaped in your tails. I have a very embarrassing story that when I very first started wreathing, oh God, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, there was no YouTube channels, okay? There was no YouTube channels, so I couldn't figure out. I was making my V shaped like this and trying to make the V shape on the end of every single ribbon individually and trying to get it the same way. It didn't take me long to figure out, you know, to fold it in half and then just cut it. But, you know, it's easier said than done when, you know, right now there's, you know, hundreds of thousands of crafting videos to teach you how to do things. But way back when, there wasn't that. So you're going to cut from the folded edge to the outside corner and you have your V shape. Now, sometimes you'll make the mistake by cutting not the folded edge that way, and it'll look like a necktie. It'll be pointy. So just remember, folded edge to the outside corner. Okay, so we got 8 at 14 of these, 8 at 14 of the 2.5, and 8 at 14 of the black vertical stripe. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take where the top mesh, you can see, so this one and this one would be on top of this one, right? So these top ones, this is where I'm going to put my ribbon tails. So again, I'm going to go over top of the zip tie that is already there. Again, this is for beginners because veterans, you know how to do the mesh and ribbon tails all at once. I'm going to take a piece of my black. I'm going to take, and I'm going to put that straight down on my mat with the glitter facing up. I'm going to take my 2.5 inch and the top of my 2.5 inch, the top there, I'm going to run right where the V is on the black. And then I'm going to take my paw one and put it right in the middle of my 2.5 inch. Okay, we're going to fold it over to find the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to pinch right up the middle like that. Okay, now depending what ribbon you want in your center when you flip it up, okay, I have the black in the center. I actually want the black on the outside, so if I flip it up this way, this is what I want. The black is now on the outside of our ribbon tails. And that's what I want. I wanted just a little bit of black to break up the natural on the natural mesh. Okay, and I'm going to leave the paw print 1.5 running down the 2.5. But I did want that black, a little bit of black peeking out. We're going to do this a few times, so. And then I'm just going to go around and close the zip tie again. Okay, before I tighten it, make sure everything is even. Looks good. And then I'm going to tighten it. So that is the pattern I'm using on row 1, every other. So we're skipping this one and we're going to put the same ribbon tails into this one. So you're going to do 8 of them on row 1. So the easier way, I'm going to put the black at the bottom. I'm going to put the plaid. So the bottom of the plaid ribbon is going along the middle of my black one. And then my paw one is going right down the center. Okay, we'll flip it over. Now you can find the middles before laying them all down if it's easier. And I'll show you the next one. We're going to pinch this right up where the center is. Now when I flip it up, it automatically has those black ones on the outside, exactly like I want it. And then we're going to put it right on. And come around. So this is going to keep the wreath nice and neat still on the back and professional looking. So you're not going to have pipe cleaners and all kinds of stuff that you need to cover up. Just want the black kind of peeking out. So it's not, I don't have the plaid against the natural. Because you'll see what we're going to do on row 1. Row 1 is going to be everything. So you can pre-center by just folding your ribbons in half already. Why, thank you, Patricia. That's a very nice compliment. I work very, very hard to try and teach you guys the simplistic ways of doing things and ways that you can save money. So, and I've been like that since the start of this business. Because in Canada, we didn't have a ton of wreathing supplies. So, anyways, okay, bottom is my 1.5 glitter. So we just have to line up the centers now since we folded it over, right? Now this will, what I'm going to do today, it will look good for not just like a dog inspired wreath, any wreath. It's going to look so cute. So it is for my dog trainer. Gigi graduated. Well, we have one more left, and that's when Gigi's going to give Eileen her wreath. So if anybody's in the Niagara region and is looking for a dog trainer, I highly, highly recommend Scotty's Dog Training. Eileen, who owns it, is absolutely fantastic. Patient, friendly, on time, totally professional, just amazing with the dogs. So Gigi went through private classes, but I think I'm going to also sign her up for the classes with other dogs. When we started her training in March, she was very, very tiny, and I was scared that other dogs would hurt her because she was so tiny. She's a little bit bigger now. She's about, 4.5 pounds. But she's feisty, she's fast, so I totally think if another dog approached her, she would be too fast for them to catch. So I want her to get used to other dogs other than just Lady, my other dog. So we might join in on the public. Plus, I love going and hanging out with all the dogs and stuff. Who wouldn't, right? Alrighty. So we just need to do 8 of these. And like I said, we're skipping every other one. I know. Just trying to figure a way that Gigi could actually give it to her, but like I was thinking, oh, we could put it on her back or something, but I think the wreath will weigh more than Gigi does. So, and it definitely can't go around her neck. And then I also have to make I don't know if you guys noticed, I did make a couple, maybe 1 or 2 dog grooming vinyls and signs, because Gigi has her first grooming appointment on June 3rd. So, the dog groomers are going to need a wreath too. So, there's some cute dog grooming ones too. And hairstylists. A lot of you noticed the hairstylist signs and vinyls. I think there's only 2, but they're really cute. So, and if there's another, I did a teacher, so we do have a few teachers. If there's another profession that you guys are wanting, shoot us an email and I'll see what it can do. But a lot of people like to bring, their hairdresser a wreath to put on their door, on their hairdressing door and stuff like that. Same with the groomers. Elaine's been to my house since she's seen the wreath, and she's seen the wreaths I've made. And I said, do you have a wreath on your door? She's like, no, but I would love a dog wreath because she's got 3 dogs. So that's what we're making. But I didn't want it so doggish, if that's a word. That's why we're going to add these little bows with the daisies, because there's daisies in the sign. Yeah, the new signs. Oh my gosh. I think you guys are just loving them because we've had, holy crap, we've had a lot of orders, which is great. Keeping the sign department hopping, that's for sure. And me too, because I format them all. Okay, 2 more on row 2. Oh, this is going to look so cute. I can see it in my head. I can see it finished already in my head. So you don't have to use 3 ribbons. The only reason, like I said, I'm using the 3 ribbons is because I did want to use the plaid, but I didn't want the plaid to blend in too much with the natural color mesh. So putting that little bit of black in the back of it is helping the ribbons pop out more from the mesh. Plus I'm using the black on row 2. Okay, 1 more, and then we're going to move on to the next row. And then I'll show you the back. Even though we have all that stuff still on the front, the back still remains nice and neat. And if you are new to Unique in the Creek, the boards are made here in Canada. Factory is in Fort Erie, Ontario, and they are made with recycled plastic. So they're made in North America and they're good for the environment. So a double whammy. Super proud. It's taken a lot to keep them made in Canada. You guys have no idea. But I'm like a dog with a bone. If I think something's right, you're not going to change my mind. So I kept them made in Canada. Now, things keep going the way they're going, and we might have to get them made in the United States, but at least they'll still be made in North America. All right, last one. That's our last one. Okay, so now we're done row 1. Okay, it's getting big. And there's the back, still looks the same, right? Right. Okay, now we're gonna move on to row 2. Okay, so wherever we put these ribbon tails, so it just happens to be the number 2 is right here. I am going to go in between, we're going to go in between each, on every other one, but in between the ribbon tails. So I'm preloading row hole 1.5 to 2 and every other. Okay, so we're skipping this one. See the ribbon tails here? We're going to skip that. And we're going to go to the next one. So we're going to do 8 pieces. 1.5 to 2. Something like this that, you know, you may have some fun ribbons already open and, you know, maybe only a quarter of a roll or something, because we're not going to put a bow or anything on it. So these are great if you're going to like a party, you know, a housewarming party or a, you know, pool party or something, and you want to bring something and you know they don't have a wreath or something on their door or on their, you know, gate for their pool or something. Something like this, which is kind of inexpensive, and it's, you know, everything's except for the ribbon, but the ribbon does fare pretty well out in the inclement weather, believe it or not. But the board, the zip ties, the decal, everything is weather resistant, so it's a great gift to give someone for like a housewarming or a like a hostess party. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have 8 pieces. Again, 10.5 by 10.5. We're going to go in and put 8 pieces of mesh in. And then I'm going to show you how I'm making the little bow with the daisy that is going to go right over top. Look how cute. It's going to go right over top. And it's going to be in between these tails. It's going to be adorbs. So we're just going to do a kerfuffle, which is, again, curl up, factory edge, left and right. I'm going to bring the bottom edge approximately around the middle, bring it up towards the middle. Okay, then I'm going to take the top edge and just bring it down and a little bit overlap from the bottom one, okay? So it looks like almost like an envelope here, and then I'm just going to pinch it right up the center. Because I don't want a big thick ruffle, because I have these little bows I want to sit on the mesh. So you're gonna, there's the edge. I'm gonna flip it over and we're gonna put it right on the board in between the 2 holes here and do it up. Okay, you wanna make sure that your zip tie head is not covering either of the holes because we're gonna go in with our little bow and pipe cleaner. Okay, so it's just going to sit like that. So we're going to do 8 of those. Again, you can use any mesh. It doesn't have to be cut mesh. So I just kind of have it not flipping out so much like fanning out, but more still folding down that last pleat there, but I'm keeping it more straight because I want these ribbons to be seen. And like I said, we're going to put this bow on like that. So I want you to be able to see the actual bow. I'm going to do 8 of those little bows. Hi, Jean. So you can see there's always going to be a solid border on the vinyls, and that's because we shrink down the actual sign of it to make sure that that the gray of the board is not seen, but B, that the actual sign part, you know, where you want is going to be seen. So usually the border color is always pulled from a color that is already in the sign or in the border of the vinyl. So this cream color was pulled from there. Anybody gonna watch the hockey game tonight? The Leafs game? I'm not a Leafs fan, but I'm kind of excited that they're in it. Edmonton has won. are streaming live on YouTube and Instagram right now. So maybe let me know where you're watching from. Go Oilers. There you go. Judy Baker from Edmonton. Okay, last piece of mesh. So we had 16 pieces of mesh on the outside and 8 pieces on the inner. Okay, so we're going to put little bows with daisies on them in over top of each zip tie on row 2 that we just put in. And I'll show you. We'll put one on so you can see how it looks, and I'll show you how I made them. Okay, so I just used the black vertical ribbon that we put into the wreath. Okay, and I used the little rubber beading. And there's pipe cleaner, just a half a pipe cleaner. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put the top of the one pipe cleaner in one hole. Trying to do this upside down. And the bottom in the other hole, and we're twisting it on the back. And all 8 little bows are going to almost like be beside each other. Look how cute that is. Okay, I'm going to put another one in just so you guys can see, and then I'll show you how to make. We're going to make them. Up. Now you don't have to put beads around. You can just use, you know, make a nice center piece of ribbon to go around the center by just like folding it. It doesn't have to have beads. And I halved the pipe cleaners. I wasn't using a ton. May struggle a little, so you might, if you have a ton of pipe cleaners, you might want to use a whole pipe cleaner. And I'll show you in a sec what I mean. Oh, let's just focus. No, I'm going to show you how I did it. Okay, so we want kind of the bows. Each bow will be touching the neighboring bow. And I used the daisies because there's daisies in the sign. So we already have paw print ribbon. I'm just folding. Now you can dovetail your bow ends if you want. I kind of just wanted to keep them a little just squared. So I just folded them in. But I am going to show you how I made these little bows. Because you want every bow to be the exact same size. Because if you make one bigger than the other, you will notice. And you want the bows kind of touching each other in each of the holes. Okay, so just like that. And now I will show you how I made them. Okay, so I need a glue gun. Okay, and we're making 8 bows. You need 8 pieces of your ribbon, whatever ribbon you're using for your bows. You need 8 pieces at 12 inches and 8 pieces of your ribbon at 10 inches, okay? So 8 at 12 and 8 at 10. I am using 1.5 inch. I think 1.5 is perfect. I guess it all depends on, is this 12? Yeah. Depends on, you know, your project. I wanted to just keep it simple and cute. Okay. You need, I'm using a bead. Like I said, you don't have to use a bead. I'm using a 1/2 pipe cleaner. So we'll cut this in half. And I'm using a tiny little zip tie. Now you can use your pipe cleaner. I just wanted to use a zip tie in the center just to make sure my bow stays together nicely. So I'm just using a little tiny, I think this is like actually 3 inches, 4 inches, but it's really thin. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your 12-inch piece, fold it in half, and this is how you get every single bow to look the same. Okay, so you're going to take your 12-inch bow ribbon, fold it in half so you get the center. Okay, now I put mine on my cutting mat, so just one of my solid lines here, and my cutting mat has increments of 1/2 inch. You can't see. Oh, yeah, I moved it, sorry. So what I want is this side, my right side, is going to fold over. So there is my center right here. Okay, center is right there. I'm going to bring this side over, and there is a 1/2 inch past that center. I'm going to take my hot glue, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue, just a strip, just before that 1/2 inch, because I'm going to bring that over and I'm going to glue that down. Okay, now this one I'm going to do a 1/2 inch, so it's going to go right where the solid one was, right where the center was. So I'm going to put a little strip of glue right before, and it's going to come over, and the end is going to go right on that middle line where we started. Okay, I know it sounds redundant because we're doing it so precise, but you're going to see these bows, so you really do want every bow to look the same, to be the same size. Okay, so this is going to be, this piece is going to be the loops. So each loop will be the exact same size and the exact same distance. So that's why I did all the measuring, right? Now the tail is the 10-inch piece. Where's my ribbon? We'll cut a 10-inch piece. I don't think I have one already cut. So we're going to cut a 10-inch piece. Okay, and I folded the end in. You see how I folded it? Now, like I said, you can dovetail it, but I just thought it looked really cute folded. And I folded it with precision as well. I folded it in 1 inch. So where I folded, I'm using my cutting mat. The end of my ribbon is going to be, go like that. So where this piece right here, where I folded it, is exactly 1 inch. So there's going to be the bottom of my tail. I'm going to do this exact same thing on the other side. So I'm just folding it in. The edge here is going to be, go up to the 1 inch. And again, both sides are 1 inch. Okay, now I'm going to fold it in half and find the center. And this is going to be our tail. So I'm going to pinch up the center and flip it. So if you pinch it right up the center, you'll know both are the same like you folded it correctly, because both of the tails will be the exact same length. Okay, hopefully you can see that. All right, now I'm going to take this piece that we glued. Where's my seam? Can't even see where, okay, the seam is on this side. I'm gonna fold it in half. I wanna make sure exactly where the half is. Just be careful because this is wired, so some of the wires are poking out there. Okay, I just wanna see exactly where the center is. And then I'm gonna take that little zip tie, put it right down the center. I really need to go get glasses. Yes, that is okay. I'm just gonna put it on the table here. Okay, so there is my seam up. So the seam where I glued is facing upwards. So I'm gonna pinch that, put it right on my zip tie here. Again, the seam is, I can see the seam. And then I'm going to flip this over because this is the good side. We're going to put that right on top of the zip tie as well. And I'm going to do around the little bow here. Again, it looks redundant, but you want your bows exactly the same size. All right. Now I'm just going to fold it in half before I tighten anything, just to make sure both sides are indeed the same size. Zip tie is in the middle. All right. Open it up and tighten my zip tie. Okay. There we go. That's how we made our little bow. And now I'm going to take my bead and my half a pipe cleaner and find the hole. So there's a hole on either side, both sides, and both sides of this silicone bead is the same. Just take my pipe cleaner and I'm just gonna push it through the hole. And it'll come out the other side, just like that. Okay, I'm gonna put my flower right on top of my zip tie. And cut it right off the thing. Okay, come around and give it a twist. And now we're going to attach to the frame with that zip tie. Like I said, I cut them in half. If you're struggling or anything, you can just leave them full, you know, depending on how many zip ties you have. And then you're going to put it right over top of the zip tie that you have on your board. It makes it a little trickier when you cut your zip ties. Or not your zip ties, your pipe cleaner. But I hate wasting. All right, I'm pulling it on the back and I'm twisting it. I'll flip it over so you guys can see. There's our little pipe cleaner. And then I'm going to put the ends down the hole. Now if you're using a full pipe cleaner, you would trim your pipe cleaner up so you can stick the ends down the hole because you don't want anything sharp. The little pipe cleaner ends are sharp, the wire. Okay, and if you use gray pipe cleaners, then you know it matches the board. So still, that's all we got for the back of the board. I might as well put a zip tie in now. I'm going to put a zip tie into our hanging hole so we can make a hanger. There we go. I'm not going to fool around with these too much because we got to put 5 more in. I should probably try and see if I could use a zip tie as well instead of pipe cleaners. But let me just twist them on the back. They're cute, right? But you can see why that each one has to be pretty much the same size. Once I open them up and everything, each one will be just touching the neighboring one when we open it all up. I'd be done now if I used a full pipe cleaner, but I'm too cheap. I have a whole warehouse full of pipe cleaners and I cut them in half because I'm cheap. But I also am showing you guys too, so you may not have a whole warehouse full of pipe cleaners, so. See how they're each just about to touch each other. Super cute. We'll have to fix all those bows later. Zoom out. I know, right, Juice? I'm cute. I'm just too cheap. Okay, let me see. Look at, I'm struggling and I have a whole package here. That's how cheap I am. But I wanted to show you guys, you can just half them. But I wonder how many other people were screaming. There, now watch. It's such a waste though, but it is much easier. There we go. I think I have to make one more. So if you missed how I made the bow, I'm going to make another one in a second. Is this a really cute little idea? I love it. Yeah, a lot easier. With the pipe cleaners longer. Okay, so let's make one more. Okay, so you need a 12-inch and a 10-inch. Here's our 12-inch. This 10-inch I already cut. Okay, we're going to fold it in half. I'll see if I can do the whole thing with one pipe cleaner. I don't know if the bow will stay tight enough with just a pipe cleaner because this is wide. So if I go to put it around the bow, because it's so wide, I don't know if I'm going to get enough tightness. Like tight enough around. We'll see. I'll check it out first so you guys don't have to. All right, so fold it in half. I'm going about 1/2 inch, so just before the 1/2 inch, past the halfway mark where I just folded. And then the solid, I'm gonna go right before there. Now you can make your bows however you want, just as long as you're finished. If you're gluing, it's 6 inches. Should be almost 6 inches. Okay, let me see if I can. And then the 10-inch, I'm just folding my edges in, that it's 1 inch. And 1 inch that way. I just double folded it. Again, you can V-shape them if you want. I just wanted it to look a little different. Okay, let's see if I can do this all in one. So I want to make sure where my halfway is. Oh, I'm going to have to do it this way. So pinch up the center, put the tail, I'm going to put the daisy. Yeah, I don't think, because my thing is so wide, maybe, hold on. I pull it tight enough. Oh, it worked. That worked too. Without the zip tie, so I just used the pipe cleaner and went around it. Definitely would have worked up with the half pipe cleaner. Yeah, that worked good. And now we'll just put that down the hole. Okay, give it a twist in the back. All right, and now we're gonna open our loops, make sure all our loops are open, and our little bow tails. I don't know why I'm reaching. Open them all up and make sure they're all looking about the same. And then you're going to fix your tails on your outside row to however you want them. And it's cute. And you don't see the board. Cute little idea. You found them on Amazon? Oh, good. There's all kinds. If you just put silicone beads. So if you want daisies, put silicone daisy beads. You want to look, these ones are 30 millimeter. I also have other ones that are a little smaller. I have a basket of beads that I've not used yet. These ones are a little bit smaller. They're daisies as well. And they are, does it say how big they are? What does it say? They're about 3/4 of an inch maybe. So there's different sizes. You can tell. There's a little one. Oh, the little one would have been cute too. Never even thought. But there's all kinds. I got these. I've already used the stars. These are super cute. I've been dying to use them. I haven't had time though. Look at these red and white checkered ones with the yellow center. And they're all silicone. And this one came with matching silicone ball things in them. And then I got the rhinestone ball. Oh yeah, there's more of these small. I have quite a few small beads. I didn't even know that. I got pearl beads. So lots of people are using the beads. I put a bead in the center of my, look, I was playing. Isn't that pretty with the daisy chain? I put a bead in the center of my bow the other day and it turned out so pretty. These would be amazing on a nautical. Anyways, off topic. We're done anyways. I just need more time to play. I'm actually wondering what small daisy would look like. I'm going to check it out. Well, you always you have to be careful where the hole. A lot of these silicone beads are made for like, you know, soother holders, pens and stuff like that. So the holes in the beads may not go the right way. So any of the flower ones, it doesn't matter where, like, that you won't put them upside down or anything. If you're using, say, like a dog paw, the hole might be in the wrong place. You just have to be careful. So this is the smaller one. Let me see. Let's see what it looks like. It's cute too. And see, maybe every other one I should do a small one. Nah, I like the big daisy ones. I like the big ones. But it would look cute with every other of the small one. So, either way. And then you're going to go around and you're going to fix all your ribbon tails that you put in. And then you're going to trim up. You're going to trim up your Chanel stems or your pipe cleaners, and you're going to put it back down the hole to make sure nothing scratches or pokes anybody or scratches the door. All right, and then you're going to put your sticker or your business card, whatever you, for advertising if you're selling it, and there you go. Super cute, fun looking wreath with bows all around. It's cute. I like the big ones too. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will be live again sometime this weekend. I'm not going to tell you when because I never know when, but I'm going to do a nautical flower with the starfish petal because I love this sign, and I brought home three different meshes. So this is a country blue, which is RE8900XA. Then we got a cream, which is RE890083. And then we got the smoke blue with cream stripe. So I wasn't sure which ones I'm going to use. But I think the country blue really pops with that cream. So I might use country blue, the cream, and like a burlap color for my flower. Won't that be fabulous? I think it's going to be fabulous. So I will be doing that this weekend, probably Sunday, just to let you guys know. It is a Canadian holiday this on Tuesday, so our warehouse is taking the Monday off so they can have a long weekend. It is Victoria Day here in Canada, and then I know you guys have Memorial Day the following weekend. So if you're Canadian, happy Victoria Day. Stay safe and have fun, and